Welcome back to Harmonize Your Life, conversations on self-care for women of color with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. We'll be right back. Well, I have somebody who is near and dear to me, near and dear to my heart. In the podcast studio with us today is Deborah A. Woods, Coach Deb, Elder Deborah, Coach Deb. She is a sister beloved, a friend, and a coach. And let me read read her bio to you, and then you'll understand why I invited Deborah to be a part of our conversations for the month of June. So Deborah A. Woods is a graduate of the New York City Technical College. She is a registered nurse that holds licenses to practice in New York, in the states of New York and Georgia. Over her 40 years in the nursing field, she has mentored and helped other nurses within their careers. Deborah attended Nyack College and Morris Brown College for leadership and management. Pastor Deborah is an elder at Grace Church International under the leadership of Bishop Jonathan and yours truly, Dr. Toni Alvarado. She recently received an honorary doctorate in theology from Elben School of Ministry in California. Deborah is a certified transformational life coach serving on the coaching staff of My Sister's Keeper Foundation for Women, for which she herself is a 2012 graduate of the MSK Leadership and Life Coaching Program. There, Deborah works with a team of transformational coaches, assisting women in finding their purpose and passion in life. She helps in the mission of MSK in moving women from average to excellence in their educational, personal, and professional goals and pursuits. After the passing of her beloved husband of 38 years, Pastor Leroy Woods, Deborah founded Wisdom for Widows, which is a support group for widows. The group was formed to help and inspire them to navigate through this life-changing event. Deborah assists widows in this transition and not only teaches them not only to survive, but to thrive. Deborah has now expanded her coaching business to include health coaching. She coaches individuals and groups to make sure that they take care of themselves and that make their business make their business number one on their priority list. With the philosophy that all your goals in life should be based on fostering good health habits as an essential ingredient for your success in life, she is privileged to have the support of her one son, her 9 daughters, and her 14 grandchildren. Will you help me welcome my sister and my friend, Deborah Woods? Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you, Dr. Toni. I am so glad to be here. I am so excited to be on a network that always talks about self-care and doing what you're supposed to do for yourself. It wasn't always like that, but you led me right into it.
Listen, I got to get one of those applause buttons on my podcast. So when I
right,
they go, yay! But anyway, I'll make all the noise for you today. Listen, Deb, you know, my passion for self-care, my passion for wellness, and you and I share similar passion because of our own journey through self-care and our passion for seeing others take care of themselves. Today, we're talking about caring for me while I care for you. That's our topic for today, caring for me while I care for you. You are a healthcare provider. You're a nurse, a registered nurse. We read that in your bio. And I wanted us to talk a little bit about your journey through self-care. I want you to talk to us about why it's important for those in the healthcare field like yourself or others like myself who are a health and wellness coach, who's a pastor, a coach, a life coach, a pastor, people who are in the helping professions, and why it's important for us to take care of ourselves while we care for others. So I want you to just kind of talk to us about your journey through self-care and why this is important for you and why you think it should be important for those in the healthcare field.
Okay. So my journey started off with never taking care of myself, always doing for everybody else. The wife, the mother, the nurse, the choir member, everything else came first. I would always say, well, tomorrow I'm going to do this, and tomorrow I would do that. Or I would start and then I wouldn't be consistent because I had all these other duties to do, which eventually did lead to a breakdown in my own health status. Even though I kind of saw the symptoms, I kept saying, well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I don't have time to do this. I have to go to work, never making the time for yourself. And so that's the biggest lesson that I learned is that when God allowed me to walk out that hospital with that stent in my heart, I said, okay, now from this day forward, you are going to take care of yourself, because if you're dead, nobody else is going to take care of the other people. They're going to be left on their own.
So you were in the healthcare field already as a nurse, caring for others, putting everybody else first, and then you suffered a heart attack yourself.
Exactly. It wasn't listed as a real heart attack, but I counted it as a heart attack because they had to put a stent in my heart to open up my arteries. And before that, I felt tired. I felt like I couldn't walk. I would sit down and people would be talking to me and I would fall asleep. And I kept saying, I need to do something about my health, but I never really did it because of the other people I was taking care. I was also taking care of my mother. She was ill at the time and had a stroke. And so I used to work 12 to 8 at night and then go to her house sometimes at 8 o'clock in the morning as soon as I got off from work to see what she needed, winding up falling asleep in the chair at her house or going back home and going to sleep. Never really changing my diet. That was one of the things that I eventually had to do. So I think it's a matter of not having your self-esteem in the right place and not knowing that it matters who you take care of in the order that you take care of them. So when I did move to Georgia and we had a church and I rehooked up with you, one of the things that I learned from being a member of the My Sister's Keeper was you used to always tell us about on the airplane, they tell you to put on your oxygen first in case of an emergency so that you could help others. That was like a million Christmas lights going off in my head. Saying, girl, it's been right in front of you all the time. You know the signs and symptoms. If somebody would call me and say, I'm feeling like this, I could almost diagnose them. Over the phone. Even though I tell them to go to the doctor, they would always come back and tell me, you were right in everything you said. But here I am pouring all of this out into everybody else and not taking the time to take care of myself because I didn't think I had enough time to take care of myself, that there wasn't enough hours in the day for me to take care of my own self.
And how many women suffer with that syndrome? I mean, thinking we don't have enough time to take care of ourselves. It's not enough hours in the day. I got to get this done. I got to get my job done. I got to work. I got to take care of my husband. I have to take care of my children. I have to take care of mama, my sisters, whoever. And then we end up suffering a breakdown in our own health, whether it's physical health, mental health, financial health, whatever, relationship health. I mean, the whole spiritual health. We end up suffering breakdowns in our own health because we don't, like you said something a few minutes ago that I don't want to gloss over. You said it matters the priority in which we care for others, and how and the priority in which we administer care.
Yes,
Right?
it matters. It matters that you put yourself first. Sometimes I can see the expression on people's faces when I tell them no. When you start off the day, you talk to God and you talk about yourself and what you need to do. And if you need to walk, or if you need to tell somebody, no, I can't do that until after I go back and do my exercise, or until after I do whatever it is I need to do for myself. The hardest part of that is practice. You have to practice taking care of yourself. You have to go from being what I call inconsistently consistent and not taking care of yourself, consistently consistent in taking care of yourself. You know, everybody.
Wait, don't move too fast. Now, wait a minute. You just dropped something. We got to go from being inconsistently consistent in not taking care of ourselves to being consistent in taking care of ourselves.
Right. Right.
Wow.
You have to notice, you know, because everybody does that. And so I tell people, okay, it's okay if you start and you fall off. Don't start all over again. Start from where you left off. Just say, you know, like you give women permission if you're walking every day and you're tired to take a day off. And you give people permission to be human. Sometimes we put so much strain on ourselves that if we say we're going to walk 5 days and we only walk 3, we just see ourselves as being a total failure. And so that was one of the things that I walked away from the My Sister's Keepers program, and why I really became a coach, because it helped me to identify and redefine the meaning of certain words like failure.
Wow. Right. Because we have to shift our paradigm, and we got to see failure. We got to change our paradigm for failure. Right. So
exactly.
Not too long ago, I wrote a chapter in a book about failure. And I talked about how we got to change our paradigm, and failure is not final, and how we look at failure, you know what I'm saying, has to change. And so if you set for yourself that you're gonna walk 5 days a week and you only walk 3, guess what? You ought to pat yourself on the back. I walked 3 days this week. Not,
exactly.
Oh Lord, I only walked 3 days this week. No,
right.
3 good days in. Next week, I'm gonna try to get 4. I'm gonna get 4 in, or next week I'm gonna get 5. But you're right. It's how we got to have that paradigm shift. You know what I'm saying? And stop seeing failure and start seeing success. It's not seeing the glass half empty, but seeing the glass half full, which is a matter of mindset and perspective, which is something that we talked about earlier this month with Melody Boone in the podcast, that whole self-care mindset. Deborah, you said something that I want to go back and just tease out just a little bit with this whole consistency thing. You recently did in the month of May, I put out a challenge through the network, right? So I started the network last year in 2020. This month, June, makes a year that we've been doing the self-care network. And you joined the self-care network. You've been doing the self-care network with us for this whole year, this whole year that we've been doing it. And in the month of May, I put a challenge out for my 58th birthday. And I asked women to join me as a way of celebrating my birthday in doing exercises for 31 days. I put out specific exercises, and I encourage the women to walk at least 58,000 steps a day, or if you're advanced, 10,058 steps a day. I encourage women to drink water, at least 64 ounces a day, eat healthy, eliminate sugar from their diet. If you could, eliminate certain carbs and things like that. And then also to do certain exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges. What else did we do? Squats. So 4 different exercises. Yeah, push-ups, exercises, and things. Push-ups, lunges, sit-ups or crunches, and
Right.
and I think the other one was squats.
Squats. Mm-hmm.
And so, and you joined the challenge, and I saw you embrace that challenge. And particularly, I saw you do it in your walking, and you're still doing it. We're now in the month of June. The challenge is over, but you're still doing it. So, talk to us about why you did the challenge and what you gained from the fitness challenge.
I did the challenge because I said, Pastor, you're going to have to practice what you preach. It's easy for me to tell other people what you need to do. Just do this, just do that. But I said, you're going to have to be an example, just like we always tell people to be an example. Be an example. I think I recorded myself one day with my funny little rain hat on, and I was walking in the rain.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those, but now I'm natural, so I don't have to worry so much about my hair. But go ahead.
Right. And so I walked in the rain, and when it started raining so hard, I went and walked up and down the aisles of Walmart because I was determined to get my walking in. Also, the very first day of the challenge, I was so hyper. I got up at 2:00 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, go back to sleep because you're gonna have to get up at 6 and start doing squats." And I said, I'm gonna start doing something right now. And I did 10 or 20 squats at 2:00 in the morning. And I was like, oh, this is not so hard. And so I think by 11 o'clock that morning, I had finished all of my squats. And I texted you or emailed you and said, I'm so excited because even though I was up in my steps because I was used to walking at least 3 times a week, the exercise part of it, I said, oh no, I'm never going to be able to do this.
But you did. You did it. And that's why, and and I appreciated one of the things I said to the women when we met about the challenge. Everybody was like, oh my God, Dr. Toni, I don't want to work out with you. You. And I was like, no, you're not working out with me. You're working out with you. And it's harmonize your life. So I wasn't asking women to get up at a certain time of day. I wanted you to work out when it was convenient for you or when it was best for you, rather. And then I wanted you to do what you can do. And many of you all found that you could do more than you thought you could do, number one. And then you found creative ways to get it done. Like I said, I just want you to do between sun up, from the time your feet hit the floor in the morning to the time your head hit the pillow at night. I want you to move your body. I want you to exercise. And so many of you all did. You got those squats in 5 at a time, 10 at a time, 20 at a time. I told you, if you're in the kitchen, you're in there anyway, just stand there and drop 5 squats. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can do that. Many of us have been sedentary because of this pandemic. We're on Zoom calls every day. We're on WebEx calls. We're working on our computers because we're home working and we're not moving as much as we were moving before the pandemic. And so the idea of moving our body, we have to do that, and we have to be intentional and in doing so. And I saw you being intentional. That's the thing
what I love about the challenge. I love the fact that you liberated us to do it when we could throughout the day. Like most people, they get up, they go to the gym from 8 to 9 or from 6 to 7. And this was like an all day. I got 5 minutes. Let me see how many sit-ups I could do. I got 10 minutes. I should have taken more pictures of my grandsons. They're 6 and 4 down on the floor with me. Come on, man. You got 5 more push-ups to do. And so I didn't feel any pressure. I didn't feel like I had to, perform for anybody. It was all for myself. It made me feel good. It showed a good example to my grandsons and to my daughters. Every day they was like, all right, you going out walking again. Even last weekend in the month, I went away to my great niece's graduation and stayed at a hotel.
I saw that.
And so I said, piggybacking off of Beverly, I said, I'm in these Charlotte self-care streets early in the morning. And so it's very relaxing to me. Like I feel like I'm in the army or something. Somebody could say, give me 10 and I could drop down on the floor.
I love it. Give me 10.
Without being intimidated anymore. So the whole freedom, it was the whole freedom and get it in when you can. That was life-changing for me.
Yeah, just get it. That's all I wanted us to do was just get it. And what I love about it is a lot of the women, like yourself said, it kick-started them, it jump-started them. And now I see y'all still going. The challenge is quote unquote over. I mean, at least for the month of May. Get ready because I'm doing another one this fall day.
I know you are.
I'm gonna let y'all get through the summer and get, eat. I'm gonna let you eat a little bit this summer and have a little fun and go to the beach and all that other kind of stuff, go on your vacations. But when we get back in from all this summer vacations and eating and barbecues and all that other kind of stuff, guess what? We're gonna get it again. We're gonna get it again. We're gonna get it in this fall. So stay tuned for the next fitness challenge is coming up. It's probably going to be in the month of October is what I'm planning. But what I love is that you all are still, you went out of town last weekend and went to a graduation in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you still walked. I saw you. You posted on Facebook. I'm in these Charlotte self-care streets, as Beverly calls it. And
right.
And it's just wonderful to see you all embracing with intentionality this idea of caring for me while I care for you. It's so important. Self-care is not selfishness. I tell people all the time that you and I cannot care for others if we're not caring for ourselves. And really, self-care is a gift to everybody that you're called to care for.
Yes.
It's a gift.
It is. It's a gift. And more importantly, the whole setup of the Harmonize Your Life and the self-care group is that everybody supported each other in everything we did. If I was to post something, everybody else would say, get it, Debbie, get it, or I would post somebody else. It was me and Melanie back and forth saying, girl, I don't feel like walking, but here I go. And it didn't matter where you were at, whether you was at the top of the hill or whether you was just starting off. Everybody got in and supported you. Michelle would put something, everybody would put something in the group so that we would be able to encourage each other. And, that went straight to my heart. It went straight to my heart.
I love that. And what I love about it, Deb, really is the women in the network we're from all over the country. So
exactly.
The good thing about these virtual spaces is that we can impact globally women. And so women are in the network from California, from Chicago, from Charlotte, North Carolina, different parts of Maryland. We got women in there from Maryland, from the state of Maryland. We got women from South Carolina, from Florida. I'm just thinking, look, Michelle is in South Bend, Indiana. And what I'm saying? Women, we're here in Georgia. We got women all over Georgia and all over Atlanta. But I mean, it's just wonderful. We got women in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland. We got women in St. Louis. I mean, but we're able to connect all over, from all over the country and other parts of the world, even because we're part of this network where we're encouraging one another toward self-care, toward being our best selves, toward harmonizing our lives and doing it not only for each other, not only for ourselves, but doing it for each other is what I'm trying to say.
Each other. Yes, and sometimes when you work in the healthcare field, doctors, nurses, when you're taking care of other people, sometimes it leads you into depression because, you're thinking about your patients, you think about what they need, you try to get them what they need, and then you say, no, but nobody's thinking about me. Everybody's taking and nobody's giving back. And the self-care network, it didn't matter what your profession was, everybody was concerned about everybody else. When I said I couldn't do no more than 5 push-ups, everybody was like, that's okay, you're going to get it. Keep trying. Keep doing those 5, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be. And it was like maybe for the first or second time in a very long time, because my husband was a big encourager of anything I did. He said, oh, that's wonderful, baby. But he was, for the very first time, I felt that there were people.
Deb, did we lose you? Look like you got a little frozen there. Let's just hold on for a minute while Debbie is getting it together there on her end. I just want to do a little station identification. Deb, we'll get you back in a minute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead. What were you going to say about your husband and how you felt? You said for a very long time. Let's see here. Are you there now,
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm. So I thought that being in the self-care network was perfect because there were other women caring about whether I reached my personal goals. And it wasn't like a competition. It was like a sisterhood. It was like, you could do it, keep trying. You could do it. Or somebody would send you a text and say, how you doing with it today? Or did you take time out to rest your arm? It was just really, and I'm sure that's what you intended when you started the network, for us to be able to help each other. It's just, it's like almost like a aha moment. Finally, finally you get a group of women that care individually and collectively, that if your goal is 10, I want to cheer you on when you get that 10. If your goal is 1, I'm going to cheer you on until you get that 1. And so it was.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it. And that is why I started the network, Deb. I had a few women last year reach out to me that were really dealing with depression. It's funny you mentioned depression. And I had a lot of women reaching out to me when this pandemic started that was dealing with depression, loneliness, isolation. And so I wanted to create something where they were reaching out to me, but I don't want to be the only one giving out. So I wanted to create something like a network. Group where we can help one another. What I love about our network is there are women from every walk of life. Tell women all the time, we have doctors and medical doctors, nurses, we have accountants, we have school teachers, we have preachers, women who are in ministry, we have married women, single women, widow women like yourself, we have women who have children, no children, grandchildren, whatever, and we are about helping each other. We span different life cycles and different age groups in the network, and it's just wonderful because we are supporting one another in our fitness goals, in our health and wellness goals, and our self-care goals. And we get strategies from one another. We encourage one another.
Exactly.
We strengthen one another. We said, have you tried this? And when we get on tea time, we share about different teas that we're drinking. And then we talk about life over a cup of tea. And we've had wonderful speakers come in and encourage us and teach us and help us, coach us in our tea time talks. It's just been a wonderful experience for me. And I want to say it's been life-giving for me. While I started the network to help others, it's also been a part of my own self-care because I gained so much. And as I've been going through grief with my mother, so many of the women in this network have reached out to me, have supported me, have been praying for me. And I'm telling you, I said, well, God, maybe you had me start the network for me.
For you.
I know that at this season of my life, I would need a community like the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network as I'm going through grief therapy and counseling and remembering my mom and experiencing the loss of my mother, which is a major loss in my life. So, so I mean, I appreciate you for that. Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest benefits, that you have girlfriends and people to network that are along the line. Some people lost their mothers at the same time as you. I think my mother has been passed away for almost like 20 years, but I could get up on a day and be like, especially when my husband was sick, and after he passed away, I picked up the phone to call my mother like 5 times. And
Wow.
so, we know where you're headed and what you're going to do. And it's good to know that you have people that have your back, that you could just say, I'm not having a good day. And we wouldn't try to say, well, you're supposed to always have good days, because what's the matter with your faith? No, no, no. You're
Yeah.
human.
I'm
And
human. I told someone the other day, they
Mhm.
said, "How you doing?" I said, "You know what? I don't know how I'm doing." And then I told them, I said, "I'm taking it one moment at a time.
Yes,
Not,
yes, yes,
I'll grow to one day at a time, then I'll grow to 1 month at a time, and hopefully
exactly.
1 year at a time. But right
Yeah.
now, it's so fresh that I'm taking one moment at a time. And that's because one moment I could be quote unquote okay, if that's even a thing.
If
And
that's
then
even a thing, right?
in the next moment, I'm not okay. And it's okay
And
to
it's
not
okay to
be
not be
okay.
okay.
And we help each other with that in the network. We let women know
Right.
it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to get help. And so I appreciate that. You talked about losing your husband after 38 years. Pastor Leroy went home to be with the Lord. And Deb, you went through grief. You've gone through that cycle with your mother and then with your husband, and even with your sisters. You've got several seasons in your life where you've had loss, but the Lord has allowed you to go through. You've allowed yourself to go through that, and you've done it in a very healthy way. And one of the things that I admire about you is how now you've turned your grief into purpose by helping widows care for themselves. And you're carrying out for widows through your group that you just started. Talk to us a little bit about your widows group that you started.
So I started a group on Facebook called Wisdom for Widows, and then I started a Wisdom for Widows private group because there were other ladies that I knew whose husbands had died, and I was part of some groups on Facebook. One morning I woke up and this lady said her husband had passed away, and today was the 25th anniversary of that. And it felt as if he had died yesterday. And that was like somebody throwing cold water on me. So I went into prayer and I said, God, okay, I'm still here. I went through the depression of not being able to get up out of the bed and not wanting to do anything. The church supported me and y'all rocked me like a baby until I could function on my own. And I said to God, I cannot live for 25 years and every day it feels like my husband just died yesterday. So I said, I'm going to start the group. We're going to support each other. We're going to learn how to get through this, not only to survive, but to thrive. Because if we're still here, we still have purpose.
If we're still here, and you know what, Deb, when I went to my grief counselor, I had my first grief counseling session this week. And the counselor said to me, she called that what you just described, she called that complicated grief. She said people who are not able to move on, it's called complicated grief. And
Yes.
she said you will always miss your mother, but
Right.
you don't have to always grieve your mother.
Right.
She told me, she said, grief is a process that we all must go through. She said, but it's not God's will for us to get stuck in grief. And I thought about two scriptures that I thought about. I thought about the scripture in Deuteronomy where she was saying this to me. I think it's in Deuteronomy. It might be in Genesis. But I thought about the text after after Sarah died.
Yes. Yes.
And it says that Abraham wept, he mourned, he wept, and then he got up. And Abraham married again. He married a woman named Keturah.
Exactly. Right.
And he moved on. I thought about the scripture in Samuel where David fasted and prayed for the child that died, the child that he bore with Bathsheba.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that while the child was still alive, he fasted, he prayed, he was in sackcloth, he was in ashes, all of that. He did all the mourning, he did all the praying. But after the child died, they came and told David that the child was dead. And the Bible says that David got up, washed his face, changed his clothes, anointed himself, and went into the house and worshiped. And that says that there's a season for grief and mourning, and then there's a season for moving forward. Now, I'm not in that season yet. I'm just into it. But I want to grieve in a healthy way so I don't get stuck in it. And that's why I went to, I made an appointment with a grief counselor 3 weeks before mom passed, because guess what? I was grieving even before she passed.
Exactly.
I was grieving the loss of her health. I was grieving the loss of things that she used to do that she could not do, conversation, the way she engaged in the family before she couldn't do, and all of that. It was, so now I'm grieving the ultimate loss of her life here and having her here every day with us. I'm grieving that. And so, but I don't want to get stuck. And you've modeled that for us. And I appreciate you for modeling that and saying, I don't want to be feeling the same way on year 25 that I feel on year 1.
Exactly. It was difficult because I really couldn't. It kind of went with the rule of, if you can't find it, build it yourself. I couldn't find somebody who was not every day I wake up and I miss you and I can't function. I was like, okay, you already know that I miss you, Leroy, but I got to function. I mean, there's stuff I got to do. I'm not ready to come to you, and I know you ain't coming back to me. So we're going to have to go to plan B. Plan B is learn how to live right here where you are.
Right. And I love that. You said, Leroy, I ain't ready to come where you are, and you ain't trying to come back where I am. So I might as well go.
Exactly.
My new mantra, Mama taught us what? Live
until you
die, right?
Exactly.
That's what you're teaching widows how to do, not just to survive, but to thrive. And I appreciate you for doing that, Deborah. So let's talk about how women can find you. Let's see here. So these widows can find you at ourwisdomspeaks.com. You're working on your new website, you told me.
Right.
And it'll be up in a couple of days. So y'all look for her website. Deborah Wood's website will be up. Our Wisdom Speaks, and she's coaching widows in that place. She's also coaching in health and wellness in that space, and just coaching for life in that space. So you can follow her, Our Wisdom Speaks. Follow her on Facebook at Deborah Woods. Follow her on Instagram at 2 Deborah Woods. Follow her on Twitter at 1 Deborah Woods. I am so glad to have had her as our dialogue partner on today. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to or watching on YouTube. I hope you are watching us on YouTube. And if you are, and if you're not, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Please subscribe to Dr. Toni's YouTube channel. I'm going to put that up there, Dr. Toni's YouTube channel. I want you to go there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please, ma'am, please do that, because we're trying to get our YouTube subscriptions up so that we can do more with our YouTube channel. Yeah. So I want you to do that and go there and subscribe, and then you'll know when other videos are being uploaded there for the YouTube channel. When you go there, also, I just dropped a new video talking about the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. And I want you to join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. You can go to my website at drtonyalvarado.com, and you will be able to join the network by going to drtonyalvarado.com. Sign up. Go there, click Self-Care Network, click join. Find whatever level of membership you want to be a member of, silver, gold, or platinum. It's the cost of a cup of coffee or a cup of tea at Starbucks or wherever you get your tea. It's the cost of a Happy Meal, wherever you like to get your little quick meals. It's the cost of a decent lunch or dinner at your regular restaurant. You can go there and then make the investment in yourself so that you can be healthy, spirit, soul, and body. Deborah is a member of the Self-Care Network. Many of the women that you've heard on my podcast are members of the network. We are a professional group of women who are concerned about self-care for ourselves and for one another. Subscribe to the podcast. You can find our podcast on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, on Anchor. We want you to subscribe to the podcast, follow the podcast, and I know that it will be a blessing in your life. When you go to my website, check out the Harmony Fitness Apparel. We have fitness apparel. I'm wearing one of our t-shirts right now, one of our bling t-shirts, Fitness Motivation. It's there on our website. We have self-care, we have harmony, fitness motivation, we have live until you die there. We have t-shirts that you can work out in, dry fit, harmony and self-care t-shirts, and fitness pants, workout pants that are there on the website so that you can be cute while you're working out. You can be cute while you're working out. Join the network. Right. You can come on our women's retreats. You can be a part of our monthly self-care meeting through Tea Time with Dr. Toni, and you can learn how to care for yourself while you care for others. Deb, I'm going to come out of the studio, pull myself out for a moment, and then I want you to help us by sharing with us just one last nugget of wisdom. Your website is Our Wisdom Speaks, and I want you to let us know. Just give us one more nugget of wisdom on your way as we're closing.
Okay, so I'm going to take the title of a sermon from Bishop Jonathan Alvarado. I was in church one Sunday and I was really feeling bad, and I was listening, and he started talking about having faith to stay focused on your future. My head like shot around like, my future? I have a future. You have a future. Self-care is part of your future. Make it a priority. Join the Self-Care Network. Find out what you need to do for yourself. Identify what you need. Come to my website. I can help you identify it. Come to Dr. Toni's website. She can help you identify it. There is a means and a way for you to plan your future, to prosper in your areas of health and wellness. Wow. We love you and we want you to be well.
Wow. We want you to be well. Listen, that is good. Caring for me while I care for you. Thank you for being our dialogue partner today, Pastor Deborah Woods. Thank you for listening to our podcast conversation today, audience. Thank you for viewing us on YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you to all the women in the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network for being such a life-giving community. If you've not joined us, you ought to join us today. We'll see you soon. Hi, this is Dr. Toni Alvarado. I am so delighted about bringing the Harmonize Your Life podcast to you. Would you do me a favor? If you are enjoying this podcast, would you email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com? I want to hear from you. I want your feedback. I want to know if there are any other topics that you are interested in as it relates to wellness, self-care, nutrition, or just overall bringing harmony into your life. Email me, contact me at hello@drtonialvarado.com.